When you're like, you mentioned you traveled abroad and you have all these things going on and these design ideas that are coming in and you're thinking of stuff, and then you see this building, where, like, I guess, have you drawn from? Is there anywhere specific that you've drawn from, or did you just think, I like a little bit of this, this, and this, and we're going to make it work?
Well, so conceptually, we loved the idea of if William Bradford, who originally built the building, if it had stayed in the family. Like, that was just a really intriguing idea to us, that it could be this multi-generational property that has been collected and curated and added to over the years. So in my business and what I love, what we both love, is largely vintage and antique pieces. Again, like some worn character, a story, something that feels really unique and has a mood to it. So I think Europe was the obvious choice. Our inventory list of what we needed to stock the place was substantial. And shopping markets in the States, with as much as we needed, we were going to be priced out. It actually was less expensive for us to go abroad and have lots of choice, and bring everything back. And so
in the States, your options are basically all catalog and custom, which in and of itself is not cheap, but it looks like catalog furniture, even if it's custom built. If everything's the same, it's clear that it just all came on one truck from one vendor. And to go, not even the antique, but even the higher quality vintage pieces to buy in the States, by the time they've gotten in inventory with a U.S. dealer, they've been marked up. They've been passed through 4 or 5 middlemen and been marked up every time. And Oklahoma City's growing, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that there's a original Palo Buffa, armchair in the corner. It's still not going to get you $400, $500 a night. And so, how do we make this work on an Oklahoma City budget? Was honestly, that was probably the biggest challenge of the entire thing from start to finish. Is how do we get the feeling and convey the story, but also furnish it with original pieces that designers in the U.S. are copying. To try to get affordable versions of. How do we do that, and kind of obviously do a good job with construction and
in a timely manner too, right? Like if you've got this list and you're like, hey, I don't have to worry about my timeline. I can pick this list and slowly make it. But when you got a deadline, did you just like fly to Europe with a shopping list and think, great, let's do it?
We did.
That's literally what happened.
Left the kids at home.
We had an Excel
we didn't
spreadsheet.
Have any first time.
No, I was pregnant.
You were pregnant.
I was pregnant with Edie. But no, we had a shopping list. We initially went to a big market, basically like the Round Top Antique Fair of France. Went with a shopping list. We're very excited, ready to go, ready to buy all of the things. And the first day, I think I was crying halfway through the day because there just wasn't enough stuff. Like we needed...
And the stuff they had was too fine.
Yes. It wasn't cool. They were like museum pieces that someone would put in a formal living room and say, nobody go in there. And for us in a hotel, like, this stuff it can't be pristine and it shouldn't be pristine. It should be interesting and stylish. But not fine. So I was
functional too.
Functional. And so I was freaking out. Like, what are we going to do? We cannot go home empty-handed. And we had hired a company to do our freight. They were going to pick up everything for us, pack it, put it on a container, and get the container to Oklahoma City. So with the few things that we bought, they said, okay, you guys have got to go see Michelle. And we both are like, who is Michelle?
Is this
what?
Michelle?
Michelle. Who are you talking about? Who is this? Where do we need to go?
Well, because they're like, you guys, you told us you wanted antiques. What you want is not antiques. What you want is brocante, which is essentially well-worn, well-used antique things. But antique in the truest sense of the word, it means pristine condition, right? Generally.
So
at least the type.
You don't want something that was
traded.
aged but still usable, not like perfected, and if someone put their coffee on it and the table fell through, it's going to cost you $1,000 because you're never going to see that again.
Exactly. So we hopped
how
on a
was
train.
Michelle?
Well, so they described him as dressing in completely monochrome outfits.
Okay.
So obviously, I'm intrigued. I'm like,
as a designer.
Yes, I'm like, we're getting on a train. We have to see this man. And so we went.
He dresses in monochrome outfits, typically pastels.
Yeah.
And buys Ruinart champagne by the pallet. We're like, wow, we got to make a trip to see this guy.
Oh.
Totally worth it.
So he was in.
Yeah.
We were in. We were in
Avignon. We took the train from
we were
Avignon.
outside of Avignon, and then they said, but you're going to have to travel. He's in Lyon. So we said, well, great.
Sure.
Yeah. We don't have an agenda except.
How long were you there for? Had you not booked a return flight yet?
We had a return flight, but it was 10 days.
So you came for 10 days?
10 days to 2 weeks or something like this.
Which is, again, it's not a lot of time.
No.
When you fly in, you basically get 2 travel days of you, and then, then they say, hey, you've got to go to Lyon and see Michelle.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
We had a lot of ground to cover.
Hundreds of pieces to buy. Like, we gotta find them. So Michelle picks us up from the hotel. We go to his family home. His dad was an antique dealer.
He was born there.
Yeah, he was born at that house. Family has since passed away, so it's just him there. And he's taken over this entire property. And when you pull up, the whole thing is fenced to the point that you can't see what's inside. Yeah. And I walked through that gate, and there is just garden furniture stacked, piled high, everywhere. And I just turned and I hugged him.
Well,
and so much.
And I think you did start. Actually, I think you did shed a tear.
Oh, yeah. I think I did.
Because we had been.
I think I did.
We got a little frustrated early on, and.
Well, you're also pregnant at the time too.
Exactly.
Yes.
That had nothing.
Halfway around the world.
Oh my goodness. No, the anxiety of needing to find this stuff in mass and just finding someone who had a similar aesthetic.
And just got it.
This was his life, right? He loved this stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And so we walked in, and I could have taken everything that was in the house. And so he said, one of his phrases is, make your own world. So he said, okay, make your own world. I'm going to go get coffee. You just wander around. And so we spent, the entire day piling stuff up from him. And I would say most of our favorite pieces came from him. And we've been back to see him multiple times since. And
we've, on return trips, stayed with him.
Yeah.
Had several home-cooked dinners in his home. He actually, he and his partner came to see us.
Oh, they've been here.
Yeah, one of his godparents is based in New Orleans.
Okay,
and I think is a dealer there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he had promised to go see them, and to someone coming
this far
from continental Europe,
Oklahoma's not that far.
To us,
away.
it doesn't seem that far, but to them, they're thinking, well, if I'm going all that way, then New Orleans to Oklahoma City, that doesn't look that far.
Yeah, it's connecting flights, no big deal. Yeah,
but it's a 9-hour drive.
Right.
So 9-10 hours. But he went to visit there, and he said, all right, I want to come see you all. I want to see what Oklahoma City is all about. Because he just thought it was bizarre that we were even talking about doing this project in a place that he associates with cowboy hats and cattle pastures and all this. So he's like, I'm coming to Oklahoma City. I want to make a weekend of it. This is going to be great. I want to rent a car, but not just any car. I want the biggest, tallest pickup truck you can find.
Such a European thing to do, because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
In his monochrome outfit.
Oh yeah, just give me the biggest lifted F-250 you can find, and I'm driving it all
with
the
his,
way.
handlebar mustache.
That he waxes.
And beret.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Beret. So he was like, we took him around town to kind of some of our favorite spots, and the managers, operators, bartenders, and stuff were like, "Who is that guy? Is he a friend of yours? Is he an arms dealer? Is he?" We got all these questions about why we were with this really super eccentric, French guy. But